Please show support 3 different ways, starting with subscribing to Unbiased Sports Podcast and his other channel FBA Defensive Unit. Like the video. If it's in your means, then reach out with a donation that shows appreciation for all of the long hours of thorough research in an effort to educate you and entertain you. Look up. The Cash App is $Unbiased Sports. It's time to get started, you dig? Jamaicans achieved independence from the United Kingdom on August 6, 1962. Jamaica's economy is heavily dependent on tourism. It has an average of 4.3 million tourists a year. By the beginning of the 19th century, Jamaica's dependence on slave labor and a plantation economy had resulted in black people outnumbering white people by a ratio of almost 20-1. Although the British had outlawed the importation of slaves, some were still smuggled in from Spanish colonies and directly from Africa. The population in 1834 was 371,070, of whom 15,000 were white, 5,000 free black, 40,000 colored or free people of color, mixed race, and 311,070 were slaves. The resulting labor shortage prompted the British to begin to import indentured servants to supplement the labor pool, as many freedmen resisted working on the plantations. Workers recruited from India began arriving in 1845, Chinese workers in 1854. Many Jamaicans are descendants of South Asian and Chinese people. In 1871, the census recorded a population of 506,154 people, 246,573 of whom were males, and 259,581 females. Their races were recorded as 13,101 white, 100,346 colored, known as the Browning class, and 392,707 black. Independence, however, widely celebrated in Jamaica, has been questioned in the early 21st century. In 2011, a survey showed that approximately 60% of Jamaicans believe that the country would have been better off had it remained a British colony, with only 17% believing it would have been worse off, citing as problems years of social and fiscal mismanagement in the country. When Jamaica gained independence in 1962, the murder rate was 3.9 per 100,000 inhabitants, one of the lowest in the world. By 2009, the rate was 62 per 100,000 inhabitants, one of the highest in the world. Gang violence became a serious problem, with organized crime being centered around Jamaican posses or yardies. Jamaica has had one of the highest murder rates in the world for many years, according to UN estimates. Some areas of Jamaica, particularly poor areas in Kingston, Montego Bay, and elsewhere experience high levels of crime and violence. In 2017, murders rose by 22% over the previous year. It is most prevalent in small island developing states. A recent study by the World Bank found evidence to suggest that roughly 85% of Jamaica's tertiary-level graduates migrate. Jamaica has the second highest incident of brain drain in the world. Guyana is first. The research indicated that roughly 89% of their tertiary-level graduates leave to find jobs elsewhere. More than 80% of tertiary-level graduates migrate from Haiti and Suriname as well. There is also another aspect of brain drain called brain waste, where migrants from one area to the next end up working in an environment where they never get the opportunity to apply their education, qualifications, or skill set. Brain drain involves the loss of valuable human capital that is necessary to help a country grow and develop. It is important for countries to have knowledgeable experts, technocrats, undertaking particular tasks, people who are competent at their jobs, who are capable of completing these tasks more efficiently. If not, the country will remain underdeveloped. A more knowledgeable and skilled economy is capable of making more informed decisions, which reduces wastage and maximizes efficiency and output. In Jamaica, corruption within the government is pervasive and entrenched in Jamaican society. Jamaican politics is overrun with corruption, and this is common knowledge among Jamaican voters. This corruption has led to a gross increase in government mistrust, poverty, gang violence, and is an overall detriment to Jamaica's reputation as a peaceful paradise. The government has consistently used forceful tactics in an effort to gain votes and wins elections because of these illegal acts. Corruption in the Jamaican government is a direct threat to democracy, and the effects are results of democratic erosion. Government corruption is widely understood in the minds of Jamaican voters. According to an article published in The Gleaner, a popular Jamaican newspaper, surveys constantly show that upwards of 70% of Jamaicans believe they live in a corrupt country. Gleaner, 2020. Corruption cripples democratic thinking and instills a level of fear in citizens who wish to exercise democratic participation. This was exemplified perfectly in Jamaica's most recent election, as it had one of the lowest voter turnouts in Jamaican history at 37%. BBC 2020. Jamaican citizens, being privy to the corruption within government, feel helpless in the effort to combat it. This results in lower voter turnouts, as many citizens decide not to vote. This fear to express political opinion contributes to the notion of Jamaica as a flawed democracy, a rating given to the nation by the Economist Intelligence Unit in 2016. Far before Jamaica received this title, there were already multiple chinks in the armor of democracy. In May 2010, former Jamaican Prime Minister Bruce Golding was referred to as a criminal affiliate of Christopher Coke, a hunted drug lord that had evaded police capture with the assistance of Golding while he was in office. However, their relationship was far from one-sided, as Golding's Jamaican Labour Party, JLP, was voted into power through Coke's murderous and strong-arm tactics. Esposito, Shown, Martinez, 2010. Corruption is not only prevalent in the government, but in the police department as well. This corruption has become the catalyst for a surge in gang-related violence, with 80% of illegal activity in Jamaica being gang-related. Due to the lack of trust in the police force, Jamaican citizens turn to local gangs for protection and monetary aid. Citizens of poverty-ridden towns in Jamaica share the same sentiment, that the government fails to address their needs and are apathetic towards their struggle. This enables them to look to local gangs for help, and when this happens, gang members oblige. The leaders of these gangs, the Dons, provide social welfare services such as school supplies, food, community festivities, and in some instances housing. Lumsden, 2016. These gangs that citizens are looking to are the same gangs government officials look to in order to garner votes and local support. Citizens will go to political representatives to receive help and will be denied, but government officials are consistently paying large sums of money to gangs in exchange for a mutually beneficial relationship. Government officials colluding with gang members is corruption in one of its most detrimental forms, as it allows for both a surge in violence and democratic instability. The use of gangs to gain votes has also caused polarization between the two political parties in Jamaica. The two main parties within the country are the Jamaican Labour Party and the People's National Party, with few differing political parties able to gain any traction in the political world. Although anti-corruption agencies have been started in Jamaica, these groups only work to expose corruption rather than prosecute it. Seeing as how corruption in government nothing is new to the Jamaican people, these agencies are hardly effective. Corruption is destructive in Jamaica, as it dissuades people from participating in society's legal framework. As a result, many Jamaicans turn to illegal organizations for safety and survival, depending on gang members for community aid, while also knowing that your government relies on those same gangs for their personal gain is no way to live. However, it is the reality in Jamaica. I think that if a multifaceted approach is not taken against corruption, it will never stop. Jamaica needs to develop a plan that prosecutes corruption as opposed to only investigating it. If not, there will continue to be panic in paradise. Please show support 3 different ways, starting with subscribing to Unbiased Sports Podcast and his other channel FBA Defensive Unit. Like the video. If it's in your means, then reach out with a donation that shows appreciation for all of the long hours of thorough research in an effort to educate you and entertain you. Look up. The Cash App is $Unbiased Sports. It's time to get started, you dig?